Picture this. It's a Friday night and the world is buzzing. Your phone is lighting up with invitations, a crowded new bar, a loud dinner party, a concert where you'll spend 3 hours standing shoulder to shoulder with strangers, and instead of feeling that FOMO everyone talks about, you feel a slight weight in your chest. You look at your favorite book, your comfortable couch, that quiet little Italian spot down the street where nobody knows your name, and suddenly, a solo date feels like the ultimate luxury. Sound familiar? If you've ever felt more excited about a table for one than a night on the town, you've probably been told you're antisocial, boring, or lonely. But here is the truth that most people are too distracted to notice. You're not broken, you're not damaged, and you're definitely not lonely. Your psychology is playing chess, while everyone else is playing checkers.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Psychology Mindset. We're glad you're here.
Today, we're diving into the fascinating, misunderstood world of the solo dater. We're going to look at why your brain actually craves that quiet time, why it reflects deep emotional self-awareness, and why the ability to sit with yourself might just be your biggest superpower. Because the way you recharge isn't a flaw, it's evolutionary brilliance. So let's start with the most obvious question. Why does being alone feel so much better for some of us than being in a crowd? Most people think loneliness and being alone are the same thing, but they couldn't be more different. One is a wound, a feeling of being disconnected and incomplete. The other is what psychologist Dr. Julie Bowker calls unsociability, the calm, confident, fearless preference for your own company. Not antisocial, not shyness, not avoidance, just a genuine enjoyment of solitude. And her research links it to creativity, not the negative outcomes people usually assume. Now, here's the part that surprises most people, because it's actually the opposite of what seems obvious. When it comes to brain chemistry, extroverts tend to have more reactive dopamine pathways. They get a bigger reward hit from loud, high-energy environments. They genuinely need the jalapeno of a crowded party to feel that chemical buzz. So what's fueling your love of quiet? The answer might be acetylcholine, a neurotransmitter far less talked about, but just as powerful. Researcher Marty Olson-Laney explains that acetylcholine is linked to calm focus, deep thinking, and that warm, satisfied feeling you get when you're absorbed in a book or a quiet walk. Your nervous system isn't less wired for pleasure, it's wired for a different kind of pleasure. Honestly, it sounds like the better deal. And here's where the neuroscience gets genuinely interesting. Some brain imaging studies on introversion have found larger gray matter volume in the prefrontal cortex, the area linked to deep thinking, planning, and self-reflection. Your brain isn't switched off when you're alone. It's running at full capacity, processing, connecting, creating. Einstein's physics, Maya Angelou's poetry, born in silence. They weren't running from life, they were running toward a deeper version of it. But let's get personal for a second, because this is where it really clicks. Why does the social performance feel so exhausting? If you're a solo date lover, you may relate to what psychologist Dr. Elaine Aron calls a highly sensitive person, or HSP. Think of your brain like a high-tech camera. Most people walk into a restaurant and record the world in 480p. Tables, music, done. But your brain is stuck in 8K IMAX experience you never asked for. Every shift in a stranger's posture, every tonal change in the background music, every micro-expression on the waiter's face. Aaron's research shows this trait, called sensory processing sensitivity, means your nervous system is permanently calibrated to perceive everything, processing it more deeply than average. So when you're on a date with another person, you're not just managing your own experience, you're an emotional Wi-Fi router, downloading everyone else's stress, excitement, and hidden tensions. Your emotion circuits are working overtime before anyone has said a word. By the time the appetizers arrive, you've already done the emotional equivalent of a full workday. No wonder a solo date feels like oxygen. It's the only time you get to turn off the human lie detector and just breathe. Let's zoom out for a second, because this shows up in the real world in ways you probably recognize. Have you ever heard of the Japanese word ohitori-sama? Literally, party of one. In Japan, solo time isn't just accepted, it's celebrated. There are entire restaurants designed with solo booths, karaoke rooms built for one. Japan understood something Western culture keeps getting wrong, that being alone is a legitimate social activity, not a consolation prize, not something to explain or apologize for. It's the art of existing with yourself, without the pressure of performance. And maybe that's why solo time can feel less like absence and more like relief, less like something is missing and more like finally being able to breathe. Here's the part nobody really talks about. You know that feeling when you finally get home after a long social event, shoes off, silence on, and your whole body exhales? That's not introversion being dramatic. That's your nervous system finishing a marathon it didn't sign up for. And that relief when plans get canceled, that's not antisocial. That's your system exhaling. Researcher Thuivi Nguyen found that chosen solitude produces a measurable decrease in emotional arousal. Your body isn't malfunctioning when it craves quiet. It's regulating, restoring, returning to itself. Now, here's where I want to be honest with you, because this matters. Not all solitude is created equal. Nguyen's research distinguishes between solitude chosen from abundance, genuine enjoyment, restoration, self-connection, and solitude used as armor, a way to hide from the risk of rejection. Sometimes the pull toward being alone is a survival reflex. If you grew up in an environment where social situations meant walking on eggshells, solitude might feel like the only safe place left, and that's okay to sit with. Here's the part I really want you to take with you. Even if your love of solitude started as a shield, it can evolve into something extraordinary. People who have navigated difficult environments often develop an intense appreciation for quiet, ordinary moments. Research on post-traumatic growth shows their priorities crystallize. They find a peace in their own company that most people spend decades searching for. They stop looking for someone else to complete them. They realize they are already a whole set. And in a world constantly trying to sell you the idea that you're a broken Lego piece waiting for a matching brick, choosing yourself on purpose at a table for one, that's not sad. That's an act of rebellion. Silence isn't empty. It's where clarity lives. Now, let's talk about what this actually means for you in the real world. Research from Dr. Bella DePaulo found that people who embrace solo time often have stronger connections with friends and family. Why? Because they aren't clinging to people out of a desperate need to avoid themselves. They bring their whole self to the table because they've already spent time at their own table first. They connect by choice, not by need. And here's the modern layer. We live in a performance economy where if you didn't post a photo of your dinner, did it even happen? People who love solo dates skip this entirely. They know some experiences get worse when you frame them for an audience. That sunset is more beautiful when you're not searching for the right filter. That pasta tastes better when you're not writing a caption in your head. By choosing a solo date over a viral moment, you're protecting something rare, your ability to think about your own values without needing outside approval. You were not socially inept. You are socially sophisticated. You were never doing solitude wrong. You were just living in a world that keeps mislabeling peace as loneliness. The next time someone asks you why you're eating alone or why you canceled plans to stay home with a book, you don't have to explain yourself. You can talk about acetylcholine, the prefrontal cortex, or the Japanese art of ohitori-sama. Or you can just smile and say, because I enjoy my company. That usually ends the conversation pretty quickly. Before we go, I want to ask you, what does your perfect solo date look like? A quiet corner in a library? A long drive with a very specific playlist? A fancy dinner where you don't have to share the dessert? Drop it in the comments. Let's find our people, the ones who know that the quietest rooms often hold the loudest truths. If this video made you feel seen, if it helped you understand why your brain has zero chill, but your soul craves the quiet, please hit that subscribe button. We dive into the psychology of everyday habits and the hidden why behind your personality traits every single week. And remember, your peace isn't a problem to be fixed. It's a sanctuary to be protected.
I'll see you in the next one.